Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually didn't intend to pick up the camera and vlog today, but as you know from our last video, we went to the garden center and picked up some seeds and picked up the compost. I suddenly really want to get this project started just because, yes, I've been doing a lot of research, but I felt super overwhelmed. I don't want to, spoil the fun. A lot of videos, they were like, oh, you need to put this under the light, you have to have an electric mat, your soil have to be at a pH of 8. That just kind of spoils it, and Brian was just like, I'm sure you will be fine. You just have to get started. I have all the tools that I need today. I kind of an idea of what I'm doing. So I've decided to get started just because I'm not a very patient person, which I know it's key when it comes to gardening. But I feel like, for example, if I want some rosemary, one of my favorite herbs, to cook lamb in, it takes about 14 to, 40 days to germinate, meaning it will sit there and not grow or grow within the span of 40 days. So if I don't get started and if I procrastinate any further, I'll never get there. So without further ado, I actually just went to the garage and picked up my seed soiling compost. I have some other compost. I also have this compost scoop that I bought on Amazon. It is also from the Sophie Conran collection from Burgon and Ball. So because I have two types of compost, I think what is the best is to use the seed sowing compost. I also have a little plan. How little is my plan? Today is 3rd of March, so I'm going to be planting these today. But yeah, I kind of planned out which plant is going to go where. So I have my compost here, this big bag, and I think I'm gonna mix it. I really don't want to buy like special buckets or like propagators. I don't want to buy too much, so I'm just collecting things that I have at home to use for this little kitchen garden. So I have this IKEA spare container that I was supposed to use for storage, but I don't have anything to put in right now. So this is where I'll mix the compost. I've also been collecting milk cartons. So these ones are like oat milk cartons. So for example, this container here, I kept the lid and a little flap just in case I need to separate it. I just don't want to invest in a bunch of stationaries and products just in case they all fail. I'm gonna stop talking and get into the soil mixing first. It says to just fill the tray with compost and water it, but what I read was it's nice to kind of mix the compost . My soil ready, I guess, but what we need to prepare for the containers, as you can see, I've already, this is for rosemary and parsley. I've checked that they don't mind growing next to each other, but what we need to do for all these containers is to poke some holes underneath for drainage, I think. So like these milk cartons, I'm just going to use a cutter to prepare these items. I'll do that now. holes under each container, and I also cut up some cardboard to write down what it is and the date that I'm planting it in. I'm aware that they are going to mold or decay. I'm not sure if that's the right word, over time, but that's fine. I'd rather use these recycled materials. I don't really have popsicles at home, but I'd rather have these first for now, and I can always just replace the label for these paper. So the very first thing what I'm going to do is plant these lavender, fill this with soil first. I'm so nervous, but if we don't try, you will never know. And I guess the thing that is like putting me off most is the fact that, like, what happens, like, what if, you know, after 1 to 5 months, this takes 1 to 5 months. Oh, wow. After 1 to 5 months, you realized, you know, it didn't work out. That would be pretty sad. So I guess that's the only thing that's like putting me off the most. But I guess like if I don't start now, by the time it's a spring and everyone is like harvesting items, and I will feel a bit sad that I didn't start as well. So you see the dilemma here. So I'm not gonna fill, I don't know how much I need to fill, but I guess I'm gonna fill a little bit more. I'm actually using quite a lot, so oops, I should have prepared more soil. And then open these packet. And like how small these are really give me like anxiety as well. Right, of course this doesn't open. Where do I cut it? So these are perennial. So if these work out, I can place it at the front yard. Why is this not opening? Oh, do I cut it in the dotted line? Yeah, I have a dotted line, I think. Oh, how would we know, right? I'll lose the instructions, no? Okay. The seeds are tiny. It's not very good. Sow seeds on the surface of good draining seed compost and cover the seed with a fine sprinkle of vermilion or compost. Okay. I feel like I need a tweezer or something, but here we go. Honestly, you can't even see them. Right, can't even see them. So now I'm going to sprinkle it with compost. Is that worms? No. And put it aside, I guess. So this one's done. I'm gonna put that in the windowsill now. And of course, write down the name. And move on to the remaining ones. last one done. For this one, I have lettuce and spinach, and I'm going to place this in a spare plastic container that I have. They said to place in a container and cover it. I'm not sure, why would it be airtight though? But I'm just going to read up on it and then see if I need to cover it. Otherwise, this is our first batch of babies. Not sure. These are parsley, rosemary over there, tomatoes, 2 types of tomatoes, and lavender. So some of them for spinach I only planted like I think 2, but for tomatoes I've used all 5 of them just because I don't know if they're ever going to show up. So yeah, I'm going to tidy up this mess. Note to self though, I will never be doing these gardening things in the kitchen again, just because all of the soil and everything is like all over the place. I'm pretty sure that's like obvious, but I wanted a warm space just because in the garage it's still relatively quite cold. So I was doing some reading, and I think the earliest sign of growth shall be the tomatoes. So the tomatoes I have is this type and the buffalo tomato. So they said they will germinate in 7 to 14 days. I don't know, if you're like new to gardening, I think choosing the plants or food that you like is the priority. Second priority is to find seeds that will germinate quicker. So not like 1 to 5 months, which is the lavender right here. The spinach is quite quick as well. So I just planted 1 spinach, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to store them in a dry, airtight container so they will not grow. I wish it's that easy. But I'm going to look up what it means by, because then the most confusing bit, place it in a propagator. I don't know if a propagator has holes in it, or seal container inside a polythene bag. How can I place this in the bag? So I don't know. I'm just gonna look that up and then settle these down. Today is not sunny at all, so we'll see what happens. I'll be so happy if these actually grow. I'll be so proud of myself. I guess the only like the boundary or like the restraint that I have is, you know, after like 28 days of looking forward to see it grow and it never grows, like that disappointment, I don't know how I can handle it. But anyway, I'm going to look up that sealing container or how to store it in an airtight container. I just find it so weird. I'm gonna place it in the kitchen just because it is relatively warm. Pack up the seeds, and I'm going to be baking, which I'm kind of excited about because I'm hungry.